Money Mayweather. I wanted to punch Floyd in his face so bad. If he gave me an opportunity tomorrow, I'd do it. Okay? How can I say no?
For years, Floyd Mayweather built a flawless 50-0 legacy, a monument to defensive genius and unmatched ring IQ. But in the shadows of that perfect record lies another story, the story of Keith "One-Time" Thurman. Every fighter eventually hits a breaking point, a moment when frustration turns to fury. For Thurman, this wasn't just another fight. It was a mission to expose what he believed was the truth, that Mayweather had deliberately avoided the one man who could truly threaten his throne. Even now, long after Mayweather's final professional bell, his influence still looms large. From Manny Pacquiao to Roy Jones Jr., legendary names have dreamed of sharing the ring with him again.
You want to fight? Come on. I mean, I ain't tripping. You ain't got to troll me. Come see me. That's who I am. I don't do talk well.
You think there's a possibility, Roy? Like, we might get this exhibition?
Ain't gonna be no exhibition. I want a real. Ain't no sense being an exhibition. What we gonna play for? We both fight for real. What we playing for? Wasn't no exhibition. We didn't make it real. Exhibition for people playing. We ain't playing.
It happened that way. It happened to me many times.
Did you want a rematch with Floyd?
I'm still active. It's up to him if he's going to fight.
You would even fight him today?
Even here.
Oh my goodness.
Even here.
Because a fight with Floyd Mayweather isn't just a fight, it's an event. It's a cultural phenomenon. The Mayweather payday became boxing's golden ticket, the kind of opportunity that could change a fighter's life forever. But in that world of fame and fortune, one thing mattered most.
And Mayweather's used to that, you know? It looked like Mayweather was trying to scuff up the Roy Jones Jr. They were beefing online for a little bit, right? Because Roy doesn't give Floyd no credit. He says he's not the greatest ever. He might be one of the richest ever, outside of Canelo Alvarez's new contract, $400 million. But you know, Floyd might be one of the richest ever, and one of the best of maybe his generation. But you know, not everybody is sold on TBE. Not everybody is sold on the best ever. And that's the way that Floyd has always perceived himself, with great respect.
And that's where the story of Keith "One-Time" Thurman begins. While most fighters begged for a payday, Thurman demanded a legacy. Today, he's remembered as one of boxing's biggest what-ifs, the man who might have been the toughest test Mayweather never faced. He became the prime example of a fighter allegedly denied his shot, a casualty of Floyd's famous pick and choose strategy. At his peak, Thurman was an undefeated power-punching champion, the most dangerous puzzle in the welterweight division. And according to him, that's exactly why the puzzle was
Money Mayweather. I wanted to punch Floyd in his face so bad. If he gave me an opportunity tomorrow, I'd do it. Okay? How can I say no? I always wanted to punch that man in the face. You know? That's actually why I never shook his hand. Never shook his hand, because my satisfaction isn't in meeting you. It's in, you know, having the fight. And after the fight, we can shake hands. After the fight, I can give Floyd all the respect. I never got the fight, never gave him any real respect. You know what I mean? I actually do respect Floyd, but face to face, I can never give him respect because he never put respect on me.
Did he ever ask you, hey Keith, why you talk to me? Why you don't? Did Floyd ever approach you and ask?
Nah, we just was in the lobby one time at the Intercontinental here, and he actually walked up to me, and you know, he was cordial. He was cool and everything, but then we were just getting to talking, and it just, you know, it is what it is. You know, he had like some.
For the welterweight division of the early 2010s was Mayweather's kingdom. He was the pay-per-view emperor, the final boss every ambitious fighter wanted to face. But while Mayweather collected 9-figure checks against established names, a storm was brewing in Florida, and that storm had a name: Keith Thurman.
You know, I've titled myself a knockout artist ever since I was 14 years old, and I was knocking out grown men with 16-ounce gloves and headgears, you know. So I tell people, ever since then, I've been dropping people like a bad habit, you know. I love being a power puncher. My first favorite fighter of all time was Mike Tyson. It was my goal to have more knockouts than Mike Tyson in my professional career. You know, it's just, you know, just little goals. Yeah, as a kid growing up. So I started off holding it down with 8 consecutive first round KOs and TKOs here at the Alucard Pavilion out of Tampa, Florida. And it took me 8 knockouts before I chose to give myself a nickname. And it was because all of those knockouts occurred in the first round. and because of the devastating power, and because of the story that my father once told me, that I chose to take upon the name Keith one time.
There's 5 nicknamed one time for his devastating knockout power. Thurman was a terrifying mix of speed, strength, and boxing intelligence. He wasn't just beating opponents, he was dismantling them. His rise was fueled by hunger, conviction, and a belief that
There may be some things y'all don't agree with that I say. I assure you. Up until, and y'all know Keith got gas issues, but until that gas tank start to run on E, he's a good fight against anybody.
Come on,
You
man.
don't want to hear it.
No. If you think about Keith was the guy, man.
Yeah.
Keith just ain't fighting. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think just the rust and everything's catching up with Keith.
Yeah.
Hey, supposedly we might get Keith this year.
About before the end of the year.
You heard that's confirmed?
I mean, y'all talk to my boy every now and then.
Okay, shout out to Keith Thurman.
6 by 2014. With an unblemished record, Thurman was no longer just a contender, he was a problem. He saw Mayweather not as an idol to be worshipped, but as a target to be conquered. And unlike so many others waiting for their golden ticket, Thurman declared that he would be the one to end Floyd's perfect record. What followed sent shockwaves through the sport. Thurman didn't politely ask for a fight, he demanded it. In fiery interviews throughout 2014 and 2015, he issued challenge after challenge, speaking with a confidence that
I'm a young, strong champion, Floyd. Come get it. I'm undefeated like you, baby. Come take my O, baby. Come take my O. I'm ready. We'll go back to camp right now. We'll go right back to camp, baby. You see my 6-pack? I'm going to go run laps tomorrow. It is what it is, man. Outside of Floyd, there's a lot of great champions in the welterweight division, and they know who to call. His name is Al Heyman. Call Al Heyman, baby. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to other opportunities. I beat this fighter, I can beat any fighter.
while others spoke of Mayweather in cautious, respectful tones, Thurman spoke directly to him through the cameras. "Do you want to fight?" he asked. "Be honest with me. If you're going to leave me alone, just tell me you're
going to get the fight." And then they politically took the position away from me by elevating him up to the super champion, which made it so that he was no longer obligated to any mandatories. And now I'm currently the WBA super champion of the world. So, you know, to me, the real purpose of holding the super champion, once when I studied the industry and understood politically what this belt and what that belt means, to me, the real purpose of having the super champ is to do things like this and have a unification bout. Because when a fighter has two belts, he's supposed to have two mandatories. Now that means that you don't really get to pick the fight that you want anymore, because now you're getting this mandatory thrown upon you from this federation, and you got this mandatory thrown on you from another federation, and then it's less for you to do what you want to do for your career. So by the WBA creating that super title, that allowed Floyd to really only focus on one mandatory, which was the WBC, if he wants to take it or not, and it gave him way more room to move his career the way that he wanted to move it. And because he was able to do that, one thing that he was not presented with, one thing that nobody had to get in his face and ask him about was, how do you feel about Keith one-time Thurman, who is your #1 mandatory challenger in the WBA? You know, as soon as he fought Maidana and got that title, I'm the mandatory. He schedules a rematch, so there's no point in talking about it. He wins again. Now, the question is, how do you feel about your mandatory?
He wasn't chasing a payday, he was chasing greatness. The tension reached its peak when Thurman boldly declared, if anybody should be scared, it's him. The boxing world was electrified. Here was an undefeated knockout artist in his prime, publicly accusing the pound-for-pound king of running scared. Thurman even criticized Mayweather's choice of opponents like Andre Berto, calling them safe, calculated matchups designed to protect his legacy. But those callouts were only the surface of the story. Beneath the spotlight.
And that's when Floyd Mayweather ends up fighting Marcos Maidana. To a very close fight. Maidana fought a tough fight. He fought a tough fight. I don't even know how it got to be like that, because I saw him get outboxed easily by Devin Alexander at his first fight at 147. But somehow, some way, maybe Floyd just underestimated the wild bull of a man that Maidana was at the time. And so the fight was so entertaining. Floyd did a rematch. That time, he clearly outboxed Maidana. He didn't lay on the ropes. He didn't let so many big overhand rights come in And it was a clear showing that Floyd got the second fight. That was only 2 of his rematches throughout his whole career, 50-0. 2 rematches. So now, where is Floyd? He is the reigning welterweight WBA champion of the world. Where was I? I was taking fights and I was maintaining position as the number 1 contender. And there was a phone call. There's a phone call I never got. And it was to fight Floyd. Somehow, never got the phone call. He said, "Hey, Keith, how are you doing today?" I said, "I'm good, my man. What would you like to talk about?" He says, "Can you please tell me, how does it feel to be the WBA welterweight champion of the world? For you have been elevated." I said, "Elevated? What do you mean?" He said, "You're the champion of the world. I learned this on a phone call."
So by the WBA creating that super title that allowed Floyd to really only focus on one mandatory, which was the WBC, if he wants to take it or not, and it gave him way more room to move his career the way that he wanted to move it. And because he was able to do that, one thing that he was not presented with, one thing that nobody had to get in his face and ask him about was, how do you feel about Keith one-time Thurman, who is your number 1 mandatory challenger in the WBA? You know, as soon as he fought Maidana and got that title, I'm the mandatory. He schedules a rematch, so there's no point in talking about it. He wins again. Now, the question is, how do you feel about your mandatory?
I learned that I'm champion of the world thanks to a phone call. I said, "Well, so what happened to the real champion of the world?" "No, Floyd's not champion of the world. He is the super champion." I said, "Does it come with a cape? What the hell is a super champ?" But Thurman, you're the regular champion of the world. What's regular about being